No talent. No talent.
It's giving very bald.
Very bald. Yeah.
Me when I don't have my wig on.
Oh my God.
How was your summer though?
Honestly, it was great. I think one of the best parts about summer was honestly seeing you in P-Town,
Oh my
because
God.
especially we for those of you who are watching, we went to P-Town this summer. I went with my drag family and some other friends, and when you're in P-Town, the plans just kind of go with whatever you see in front of you. So some people will go into one store, we'll go into another, and Lily and I just kept being like, "Where the fuck is everyone going?"
It was just like follow the leader, but follow the havocs. Like
Follow the havoc. Yeah, absolutely. Freaking trying to follow Harlow around is like chasing a freaking bull.
It's like a bumblebee around B-Town.
Honestly. Love you, Harlow. Hi, I know you're watching. Hello, chicken, and welcome back to the Chicken Coop, your backstage pass into the ever-changing world of drag production. My name is Bossi Boots, your hostess extraordinaire, and today on the pod, we have genuinely one of my favorite people here joining me today. She is a powerful and inspiring trans woman, the dancing diva, and the 2023 mayor of Dorchester. She is a breathtaking performer and a true visionary in the arts. Please welcome Miss Lilly Rose Valore.
Hello, my chicken gorgeous queen. How are you today?
Oh, I'm doing good. How are you?
I am doing well. All I can say is well because that's a loaded question.
Yeah, loaded question. Absolutely.
We don't want a trauma dump today.
No, not today. That is not the goal of this podcast, unfortunately. But tell us about you. Who is Lilly Rose Valore? What is Lilly Rose Valore doing in the Boston scene currently?
Well, I am a local artist, dancer, activist. I've been doing all this for about 10 years now in the city of Boston, born and raised. So I've just been always passionate about dancing and performing and conveying a message that trans lives matter, dolls matter, and that's just my job nowadays. I've added drag queen to the resume just 3 years ago. So.
Yes.
But before that, always was an advocate for trans rights.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember I love to tell this story because I remember the first time that you were at Blend. It was a watch party at Blend, hosted by my drag mother, Harlow Havoc, and I just remember you were there literally just doing a tip spot because Harlow would just let you there, and you had the choreography ready. You were like, oh my God, I'm so thankful for this opportunity, so humble, and you still are.
Yeah.
You still are, but I feel like your confidence and your mission has grown so greatly since then, and honestly, it's kind of cool being like, I was there that first night at Blend. Yes, I was.
Yeah, you sure saw the busted face, the lashes, the wonky eye, but that kind personality was there. And speaking of kindness, I have a little gift for you because I'm very grateful to be here. So
you do?
ASMR for a second, everyone.
Oh, please.
So I brought you a donut from
Is
Dunkin'
it a donut
Donuts.
from Dunkin'?
The most Boston thing you'll ever get on the podcast today. But, I'm just really grateful to be here and
oh my goodness.
continuing that kindness from 3 years ago when I met you.
Thank you. What kind of donut is it? Do we know?
Oh, it's strawberry sprinkle.
Aw, I love it because I'm fruity.
But, okay, well, don't get too excited because I think they forgot the sprinkle. But you know what? It's fine. We're trying today on the cast, right?
You know what? I'll take it. Thank you, Lily.
There you go.
Now, like you said, you recently added drag queen to the resume. I would love to dive in and talk about your experience and as a drag artist and as a showgirl as well. You have so much experience and I know that you practice and you have so much attention to detail. What goes into the work behind the scenes? What do you do when you're like, okay, know that I have this vision in my head for a number? What are some of the things that you do to prepare yourself to get on that stage?
Yeah, so it's funny because most of my days off, which are usually during the week, I'm a full-time queen, and most of my days off is really just planning what I want to give to the people who are coming to the show. So a lot of what goes into a number, I always start with the lyrics and the words and the music. I feel like when you get that together, you know where the rest of the visual vision is going to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, for me on days, I'm usually trying to make everything a concert experience. I don't want things to, it's interesting to have drag, be silly and wonky, but I kind of want to be as professional as possible.
Yeah.
So I'm always trying to make everything a concert experience, incorporating choreography and then moments of lightness with laughing and drag, big costumes, or you copy costumes from big A-list celebrities.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of attention to detail and a lot of time. I mean, I spend probably 4 days, sometimes staying up from 12 midnight to 6 a.m., like working on things.
Holy shit. That's crazy. You said 4 nights a week you do that?
Pretty much. I for some reason cannot sleep at night. Like I'm a night owl. And then I sleep from like 6 a.m. till like noon, get up and do my chores, like the good Judy that I am, the doll that I am. And then I just keep working on the art. It's my life at this point, and it's an honor to be able to do it every day.
Yeah, so. I mean, I guess this just goes into saying, the more that you lean into things and the more that you live and breathe and believe in the work that you do, the better the result is. For those of you who have never seen a Lilly Rose Valore show, it never misses. Never. I've never once seen you and been like, oh wow, that was a rough night for Lilly. That's never happened. Never. Yeah. Even that first night at Blend that I was talking about, I did not think that for a second. So I think that's so crazy. In the great words of Lady Gaga, no sleep, another club, no sleep, bus, plane, the P-Town plane.
It literally is. Yeah. Oh my God, I've been on the Cape Air too. It's not fun. It's not
horrifying.
Fun at all.
But I really, really appreciate all that attention to detail. Like it shows too, like staying up clearly works well for you. Obviously, we support sleep on this podcast. Get some rest if you can. But
thank God for concealer with my bag. But it's what it is. I really care about this, and it's taken 3 years at this point to really hone in on what my perspective in drag is. And it was confusing for a while because I'm a trans woman, and I've always felt like I wanted to be a drag queen. Then I was like, well, then I'm a showgirl. And there's a weird line sometimes between how to represent yourself.
I completely agree. There's definitely some weird fuzzy lines, especially when you're walking that line. And there have been artists that we've seen on Drag Race that are just like, oh yeah, I don't think that I am a drag artist, and they appreciate drag because it helped them to realize I'm actually just a trans woman and I want to live my life this way, which is so beautiful. But you kind of have the duality of having both of these elements still, so I can see how that's a lot to process all the time.
Yeah, and I wanted it that way. I was like, I could just do this showgirl vibe and not do the drag makeup. But I love clown white, and I just want to sometimes put it on my eyebrows and it just seemed like a drag. It's
wow, you hang out with Harlow a lot, don't you?
Yes. We love my sister, and we love you, my niece. But, it's just drag is so beautiful. And I think that's the best thing about drag is that there's variations of it and nuances that we all can start to appreciate. So definitely a showgirl, but we like to dip our toe in the drag clown white moment every now and again.
Calling me out. Yeah. I didn't use clown white, but today I did use Hotline by Trixie Cosmetics. So they shouted me out on their Instagram story, and I milked that so hard today. I was like, well, yes.
Queen.
So
branding queen, I'm telling you.
Honestly, Trixie Mattel, sponsor me. Oh my goodness. But let's keep talking about your experience with doing drag as well. And you are, honestly, when I think about brunch, I always think of you because you definitely know how to put on a good brunch show, specifically down in P-Town. But tell us about P-Town. What's it like getting to work, not just in the Boston area, but over in P-Town and getting to travel and do things during the summer? What's that like for you?
So, and I'll go back to a little bit of my drag career and how it kind of started 3 years ago. I've always seen drag queens, and I've always gone out to the club. I got into the club sometimes even before I was probably supposed to, but that's another story. But
happens.
But I saw my drag mom, who is now my drag mom now. Back then, Misery is my drag mom, and I saw her perform for the first time 3 years ago. And I was like, this is amazing because I see a figure who is so beautiful, so drag, and also a Black perspective. Like, I felt like that was me on stage. So
Yeah, absolutely.
I started and I asked for her help, and she's like, I got to see you perform. So she saw me perform.
That is so misery to say. I can picture it. She's like, well, I want to see you perform. Yeah, absolutely.
She's like, I got to see something real quick.
Yeah, absolutely.
So she saw
As she
me.
should.
I mean, right. I mean, because we shouldn't just be picking up anyone off the street, you know?
No.
But she was amazing. She came to my first show at Blend, and I slipped on gay water, which is vodka soda. But I landed in a split somehow. And it ended up working out. And she was like, great potential. Now let's figure out your face. And it was history from there. She taught me how to do my face, painted me. And I didn't even know that was I didn't know that was how you were adopted into a family.
Yeah.
You know, I just was like, this person is being a mentor and a mother figure because, you know, I needed a mother figure.
Absolutely.
Ended up getting kicked out at 18 way back. Oof. So having a mom like that and someone just be like, and like tough love too, like, girl,
oh yeah, absolutely,
you gotta get that nose contour together. And I was like, thank you. Like, I just needed someone to like hone in on that.
Literally, drag is one of the few places where someone can read you down and you'd be like, oh my god, thank you so much. You literally said that I looked like a fucking boot you found off the side of the road, and I'm so thankful for it because I'm gonna use that to help me get better. It's a weird thing. Reading
and you're just smiling like, okay, yeah. I'll take this in.
No, literally.
She was great, and she taught me everything I know, and not even just about drag, but about life. You know, I think that's the good stuff, when you can get a drag mom who teaches you about the ways of the industry, but also, like, helps you kind of get through your stuff, too, because life is crazy.
It is. You know, like, this is something that I've talked about before, is that, like, you know, we do so much of drag on our own, so that when we have these moments of, like, being able to rely on other people or just throw an idea by somebody, like, that's where a drag family really becomes special, when you're able to count on those people like that, is that when you have these ideas or these, like, road bumps, people that are there, like, on a dime, even if you don't hang out every single day, like, these are people that have the understanding, like, if you need something, we will be here for you, and we can make it happen together, which is so special and beautiful. That's why we call it chosen family. It's like having an actual sibling nearby. So
absolutely. And that was what it was for me. And then ever since, like, so I'm a dancer first, and I think with drag, I was very lucky, and I'm still very humbled, but I think the dancing really helped, because before you knew it, like, I was very lucky to be booked, like, right away, like, out the woodwork. Like, absolutely. It just happened. And
well, I mean, talent usually does that. So,
you know, thank goodness, because I didn't have the face or clothes yet, but I had a perspective with dance, and it was just bookings. And then as I grew, I just learned. Fast forward to 3 years later, or last summer, I would say.
Gotcha.
Ended up in P-Town.
Yep.
And I honestly, that experience down there, I stayed there for 6 months last summer. And it was a very crazy, long journey. I mean, it was definitely something that I would say in my drag career, it pushed me to the limit of, like, now I can do anything.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I can imagine, because for those of you who have never been to P-Town, Provincetown, Massachusetts, it's literally right on the very tip of the little hook on Massachusetts, and there is no such thing as calm in this place. Like, if you think New York never sleeps, P-Town is bonkers 7 days a week.
Oh, yeah.
Tea dance, nightlife, drag shows, like, everyone, there's so much going on at any given time, too.
Yeah, and it's such a destination spot. And so, you know, I met the owner of the Crown and Anchor. Shout out to the Crown and Anchor, at only Crown and Anchor.
Come on, Crown and Anchor.
Jonathan Hawkins, one of the owners, saw me in Boston and recruited me from Blend. And I was just so honored, because I didn't know anything about the entertainment down in P-Town. And I didn't know if I would fit. I mean, there's a lot of beautiful, campy queens.
Yeah. Ladies
who are just producing shows and not... It's less traditional drag, I would say. So
yeah, there's definitely a lot of like there's a lot of live singing down there. A lot of like one woman shows, like cabaret style, theatrical. You know, finding your footing in P-Town can be kind of hard when there's so much different talent going around too.
Yeah, and luckily the dancing worked to my advantage, because a lot of what the town was responding with was, we needed you here. Like, we needed new blood, and you just came in and started performing. So I was doing 8 shows a week pretty much every week for the whole summer, using my body, which is like most of my drag is dancing, but of course I lip sync and all that. But it was just like go, 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 no sleep, turn the party, doll.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
It just never
like
stopped.
Constantly clocked in.
Like I worked more than I did in Boston. So, and there was a lot of like beautiful ups and downs. And I appreciate all of it because I learned so much of like what I will tolerate and what I won't as a businesswoman. I think it really taught me how to be business. And that's something you're really good at, like the branding part of it and the making sure that there's contracts and just, paying
absolutely.
a little attention to that. So
I think you make another good point there. I'm gonna go off my notes here. Learning how to accept things and not accept things. Like there's only so much shit that we can take as drag artists. Like obviously, yes, you want to properly value yourself. You don't want to be the person that's like, oh, I have a $500 booking fee and I've been doing drag for a month. No, you don't. Like, come on. Like, you want to value yourself with time, like really look at the things like, okay, like I know that I have this experience, but if they're only going to offer me $50 and I've been doing it for 3 years and I know that I could pull in like thousands of dollars in revenue into the business, like obviously that's when you can fight for yourself. So I'm glad that you got that perspective down in P-Town. It's a really, really critical piece to have is the business side of things, because essentially the way that I like to think about drag too is that like I am a small business and like we both know this, we do this full time, like we live and breathe this. So yeah, we have to fight to make sure that we get both what we deserve and can bring confidently what a venue is expecting of us. So
yeah, and you're so right about that, because it's also like what you bring to the table, and I'm also always coming from a perspective of professionalism, but most importantly in my life, what's important is kindness and how you treat people.
Absolutely.
And I don't come in like a diva, but I know that at some point I don't always want to be put in a utilities closet for my dressing room. So it's about how you speak to people, and then I think once they see your show, they understand, okay, this person deserves.
Yeah, that's another thing, like proving yourself too in this type of drag market and like live entertainment, is that it's like people aren't going to know what they're getting themselves into until they literally see it face value. Yeah. So sometimes, again, it just takes like going out to the club, like having these people see you and have an opportunity to know exactly what you do. Like when people come to a Bossi Boots show, they know that they're going to get like a good hosting time. They're going to get a professional production, like smooth start to finish with the show. Yeah. But like, for example, they won't get dancing at Lilly Rose Valore level because I don't market myself like that, because I can't do that. So your dancing is phenomenal. I think it's a huge asset for you.
Thank you. And I appreciate that we can all recognize like what we're good at. And long story short, P-Town was crazy long and fun, and I get to now go down whenever they're having big weeks, and it's just a nice little escape. So if you can get down there, do it.
Yeah, go to Provincetown, Massachusetts. Sponsor me, whoever's in charge of Provincetown. Yes. Literally anyone. Oh my goodness. Aside from, the whole drag and the showgirl thing, you actually do a lot of work also with digital drag content, which I think is super cool. And this is more or less draggy, but it's more arts focused. And I think that this is a really, really cool perspective. Lilly Rose Valore, every year, for those of you who don't know, has a specific era, and it creates artful and tasteful videos based off of this era.
So, a few years back in 2020, when we were all pretty much stuck in the house, I had to figure something out. I was like, I need to do some art. I had been furloughed from all my artistic jobs, and I just wanted to find a way to get out what I was feeling. So I started writing poetry or just like journal entries online. And then I pretty much decided that, well, what if I put visuals to whatever I'm talking about? So then I started recording visuals. And then I said, well, what if I recorded the voice and put it over instrumentals and then put the video on it?
Slowly layering things in to build it up.
Yeah. I mean, I guess considering us having all the time in the world, I was like, I just want to do something creative. And what I realized is that it didn't start as like something like cinematography and video making wasn't something I was naturally looking at.
Yeah.
But it was naturally something that helped me cope with what was going on and some of my past issues as well. So I started back in 2020 and realized that I want to get into filming and I want to hire a crew and start telling my stories. It was healing rather than just make something for online. At first, it was never about online, and then it got better. So fast forward to maybe 2022, I decided that I wanted to make a bundle of videos, but I wanted the videos to have a topic, and I wanted them to be about me. So 2022, the topic was about love in different forms as a queer person, romantically, friendships, families. And then I released all those videos and people started to really pay attention online. It was nervous though. I was like, vulnerability is different when it's behind the doors versus like when it's out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Me included, I was definitely one of the first people noticing too. Probably because I already had known you at that point. But still, like I paid very close attention to those because I was like, wait, this is kind of cool. And it's very different. Like all those videos that you do, they're very, very tasteful and they offer you such a unique and deep connection with the topics that you've set. And it really creates this unique intimacy that you have with art. And I think it's really, really vulnerable and beautiful. I would love to hear more about like the vulnerabilities that you have like going into that and being able to dive in and like open up with these videos. Like what are some of the emotions that you've portrayed and some examples I would love to hear? Yeah,
so I guess even with the love era, and there's always a reason behind these videos. These videos don't just come out of nowhere. It really is based off my life, It's based off like, what exactly is going on in my life. So I found that when we were going through COVID times, the world needed a little more love.
Yeah.
And so I was creating things that were lighter. Fast forward to 2023, where I created this era called harsh nostalgia.
Yes.
Which is
total opposite.
Yeah, I'm like not stealing from Dua Lipa.
Yeah.
Right? But harsh nostalgia, which there was a point in my life where I was like, I can't stop thinking about things that were happening in my past. I was going on my walks every day, super depressed, starting drag and my hormone therapy treatments. And there was just a lot of things going on at once.
There was a lot of change going on the last few years. A lot of change.
And I just was like, all right, well, how about we did a series last year. It went really well. How about we start talking about the dark stuff, which I love. So, there were videos there pertaining to getting kicked out at an early age, homelessness. I had a video called Hormone Shock, which kind of went into detail about what mentally you go through when you're put on estrogen and taking testosterone away. And what I noticed with my second era, people were starting to DM me about, hey, I just want to say thank you so much for being so visible and open about this because these were really personal topics. And
yeah, absolutely.
I think I needed it for me. And it was, so it was like me first and then everyone second. And people started to really reach out and I realized that this was an important part of my advocacy journey, and I could do it creatively. Yeah. So, to answer your question, some of the topics were all just like really, really special to me, but also just hard things that I went through.
Sometimes you would need to appreciate the low points in your life in order to make them beautiful and to grow. Yeah. And I think that those videos do exactly that. I think you do such a wonderful job representing how you can sort of make lemonade out of lemons,
Yeah.
So
it's a lot of trial and error, and I wasn't perfect back then, but it was a lot of just doing and learning and learning how to edit music over voices, or learning scene direction, or how do I want to represent a hard story. And by the time that I was done editing and everything, I was a little bit sick of the video, to be honest. I was ready for people to hear it. Because we spend, as artists, and as a content creator, we spend so much time just
absolutely.
with it.
For those of you who don't know, if I could spill this, Lilly actively creates these eras the year prior. So, she works for them from, whatever she's working on in 2024 will be content for the entire year for 2025, which I think is, one, really smart, that you're, backlogging and planning ahead.
Yeah.
And 2, it also lets you like leave that project behind, just drop it on Instagram and then focus on whatever new project you're working on and be able to hone in on your creativity. I think that that's really smart, and I wish I could fucking do that with drag.
It's hard. I mean, and that's the thing. You're focusing on something else for the future while you're still in one era. So you're like,
yeah.
Your brain is like all over the place because you're thinking about past things, and then you're thinking about, well, what do I want for the future? And a lot of times it comes to me when it does, but I really appreciate that you understand the extensiveness of planning like 2 years ahead. So it's been a great journey, and then we go to 2024. I did an era about existentialism.
Yes.
Which was the hardest era of my life.
Yeah.
Because all the videos got like lost at one point, and I had an existential.
Oh shit, that's right.
Do you remember that?
I do. You were so pissed about that. You were like, "What the fuck?" You're like,
back your things out. Back your things up, folks.
Back your things up. Oh my goodness. If you don't have a Google Drive or iCloud, sign up for that shit. Whoa. Like you need something.
Yeah,
you need to make sure.
I went through an existential crisis that day.
Yeah.
I also couldn't say that word for so long. And my friend goes, "No, we're going to sit down and learn this because if you're going to promote this."
You didn't know how to say existential?
I used to say existential. And then I learned it was existential.
Work. You know what?
Girl, these topics, they come to me. I don't go to them. So existential, folks.
Existential. That's how we say it.
But that's,
oh my God, that's so funny.
That's been the last 3 years. And I really want to say it has been so great. And I've collaborated with other artists, as I keep punching myself in the face with this, but I love you all. It's been such an honor to collaborate in the past with artists. And for people who are close to me, like I don't just pick anybody because my stuff is pretty dark, and sometimes people just get like they get
carried away,
and they're like, "Are you okay?" And and I want to work with everyone, but I want to work with people who understand that like sadness is okay, and if you're using art as a way to process it, like I'm okay. It's just
absolutely. It's not like you're bottling it up and just letting it take you down at the knees.
Right.
So that's exactly what art is for. It's meant to express. And unfortunately, we don't go through life happy-go-lucky 24/7.
No.
So I always say this, and I've heard this many places, like happiness is a journey, and you're not going to be happy all the time. But when you experience those moments of happiness, that's when you're able to break through and really create something special, whether it's a memory or in this case, content. It's really, really special to be able to do that.
Happiness is a butterfly, so catch it when you can.
It is. Speaking of these eras, you actually have something really, really cool going on as of late. You were given a grant from the city of Boston. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I was so honored last year. It was during the Harsh Nostalgia run, but I was able to be introduced. My friend Candice Persuasion, who's also a showgirl.
Hi,
she
Candice.
turns the party. She works downtown, and she works with the mayor's office. And she reached out to me because she's like, you're doing these videos and you're producing, and you're funding it all yourself. And honestly, I couldn't care less about money or whatever. I think, we're on a floating rock, so do what you will with that information.
We're on a floating rock. Oh, my God.
Memories are more important. Money is like whatever. But I funded it, and Candice reached out and offered, the opportunity. She said, I think you can apply for this. It's a grant that Mayor Wu gives out to artists in the city of Boston. There are very specific things. They'll give it to certain artists, but you can be a cinematographer, a photographer, or an artist who was creating videos. And I looked at the criteria and I was like, that's right up my alley.
Yeah.
So they can offer anywhere between $5K to $10K in funding. And which is a huge deal and makes a huge difference.
Like, you can pay people with that. Like, talking, you said that you like to hire a crew, like that goes towards like videographers, actors, costumes, makeup,
collaborators. So it's honestly, it was a big, and so I applied for it not really thinking like, whatever, if I get it, I do.
Yeah.
And then I was able to receive it about $5,000 last year. So
That's
it was
so fierce.
an honor. And I didn't even know that the mayor was doing anything like that. But it's the LGBTQ Advancement Office. So if you want to follow them, you can follow them. It's either at Mayor Wu, or you can go to LGBTQ Advancement Office downtown. And
that's so
they have
cool.
many grants that are also different as well. So
yeah, I guess this leads into my next topic too, is that like, having this visibility for the LGBTQ community is so important, but you also provide a unique perspective on visibility, because not only are you a trans woman, but you're also a Black trans woman. And I think that provides so much for a community that needs it. And especially on the level that you do stuff, it's really important. Like, what does visibility mean to you? And like, how should people be thinking about, like, whether it's like a show or whatever, like, how do you want them to see you?
Yeah. When I think about visibility, for me, it's all about just having people see me exactly for who I am and going with that. Supporting me in that. But then there's also the other side to it too. Like, if you don't support my life, that's also okay. But where it becomes a problem is when there's hate spewed towards people like myself or queer individuals. So being visible just means like having the support if you do support me. Like coming to my shows, supporting my online endeavors. Like when I do post a video or I'm promoting a video, reposting it helps an artist, and the algorithm is really hard. So
oh my God, don't get me started on the algorithm.
I know you know all too well, but that's what visibility means, like being able to be myself and be supported in that. And if someone doesn't love the life that I'm living, then
mind your own business,
do your thing. That's visibility, like, because it causes more trauma and less visibility when someone is just actively putting out hate. And the last thing I want in this world, I really want more kindness and love. I give it every day. I wake up intentionally wanting to give people kindness. So a little more of that. And I also think reaching out to trans people or any queer person for that matter. But I specify in like trans and non-binary. I think those are the most people or individuals that like have the most issues in society, unfortunately, because people don't get us. So reaching out to figures and being like, hey, I just want you to know you're doing a great job.
Yeah. Or even if you want to support and you don't know how, like, we can't do all the work for you, but opening up a conversation, being like, hey, I would love to be better about having more advocacy or be better about like my thoughts on this. I just want to hear it from the perspective of somebody who literally knows about it rather than listening to mumbo jumbo on the internet.
Yeah.
I think it's important that, having these lines of conversation and this open communication between our community is so important to continue to grow and to keep that kindness involved.
Well, because you never know until you ask, right? And we don't want to wonder anymore these days. We have a lot going on, and I won't go into what politically is going on, but I think it's important to go to your figures, ask them questions if you don't know. Say, hey, how can I help you? Do you have a show coming up? Can I come tip you? Can I bring friends? It takes nothing to bring 10 friends.
It's true. Oh, it's dial up that phone, get on iMessage and be like, come out to the show tonight. And I can guarantee you 5 people will show up at least.
If you bring 5 people to a show, like, and if each of your friends brings 5 people, that fills up a room. Like, if you have 10 friends that either being Bossi or Lilly Rose Valore on stage, like, if we can get 10 of those people to bring like maybe 5 or 6 friends, like, we'll be good.
Yeah, absolutely. Word of mouth is like one of the best ways to communicate. Like, we can make all the fucking flyers in the world that we want, but like sending messages, sending a text, like getting somebody on the phone, getting that actual physical, hey, this is going on, that like extra push, that like almost 2-factor authentication of promoting a show, you know? So I definitely think that's a good point too.
Of course. And that's how you can support us. It's pretty simple, and, just have a good life. Like, enough of the hate if you are a hater. So
honestly. Well, you heard it here first from Lilly Rose Valore. Stop being a fucking hater, you bitch. Anyways, I think that's all that we have time for today. But Lilly, thank you so much for coming on today. It has been so lovely having you. Where can the people find you?
So everybody can find me on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, the whole 9, at Lilly Rose Valore. pretty much that's where all of my videos are posted. And you can find me on Vimeo, YouTube, all that jazz. The only thing that I will maybe sort of plug is that
Please.
just know the future for my next era is very colorful, and it has a lot of beautiful collaborators, those who wear bobs. So
You may see some people you know. Who knows? Well, like I said, that's all we have time for today. But again, thank you so much for coming on. You are such a joy and a light. I really appreciate you.
thank you, my beautiful queen.
Of course. And you can find me pretty much anywhere on Instagram, etc. at Bossi Boots. That is Bossi, Boots as in the shoe. And you've been listening to The Chicken Coop, your backstage pass into the ever-changing world of drag production. Goodbye, chicken. Me.
Yay! Oh my God.